Chuba Hubbard, Oklahoma State, 6 foot, 208 pounds, a Canadian. Coming to play American football, who actually had to sit out his first year so he could learn the American rules of football.
Canadian.
A Canadian. This was a guy in 2019. Now we're talking Chuba Hubbard. We're talking two different Chuba Hubbards. 2019 Chuba, 2020 Chuba.
Mm-hmm.
2019 Chuba led all of FBS with 328 carries.
So fast.
And rushing yards, right?
And rushing yards. He averaged about 26 carries per game, had 2,094 yards rushing, 6.4 yards per carry, 21 touchdowns, 23 receptions, 198 yards. 2020 comes along, 133 carries, 625 yards. I'm not going to play the whole year kind of thing going on around here. And
he did opt out, yeah.
A big downhill. Now, going into this, like I was really down on Chuba, like big time. Like after we're like watching some of the tape, going back again this year, looking at some of that 2019 tape more than the 2020 tape, I'm okay with Chuba again.
It's fine.
I'm with you there. I feel the exact same way. I was totally out on Chuba. I was like, I'm not down with this guy. And then I went back and I dug deeper, and I think there are some things to like. The problem is he just doesn't do anything exceptional. You know what I mean?
Well, he does one thing exceptional. Be super, super fast.
Well, yeah. I'd like to see, yeah.
I mean,
track speed. He has legitimate track speed.
I think it's good vision. Like I was pretty. Like I came away. I was like, dude, like he's got pretty good vision. Like you said, I mean,
I have him at above average, so I'm with you.
He's pretty. Like he's got pretty good instincts when it comes to running the football. He's got pretty good vision. He's got top end speed. There's no second gear with him though. It's like, here I am. There I go.
And maybe that's why he doesn't look like he's going fast, because he gets up to that to his top speed very, very, very quickly. But the contact balance and his ability to break tackles, I think, is probably his biggest weakness that I saw on tape. Anyway, he's one of these guys, a very Ronald Jones-esque type of player in the fact that any kind of contact brings him down, in my opinion.
Yeah, the one thing you see here, I wrote in bold. Not a power guy. Don't expect to break a lot of tackles at the next level.
That is very bold and big.
That's my number one thing.
Bold and big.
Was my number one concern about him. It's the reason why we were down on Ronald Jones. So what's fair to be about Chuba Hubbard about the same thing? But we saw a path for some fantasy football relevancy. I think Chuba Hubbard's a very nice running back. They'll go to an NFL team that, he has some fumble issues. I saw some fumbling issues there.
Yep.
There's going to be a really nice running back by committee kind of guy. All of a sudden, Leonard Fournette gets hurt, and then you're down to your third string tight end. And now all of a sudden, a guy like Ronald Jones or Chuba Hubbard's got to come in, and they can produce a couple games for you.
Right.
For a guy of his size, he's a little lean, but which sense how fast he is.
That's another thing that I want to see from the pro day, his actual size, because
he's tall.
He doesn't look 208 pounds even on tape.
No. It's because he's like 6'1".
But if he's 6'1", 208, you'll look pretty lean. Yep. But if he's actually, they list him at 6 foot. If he's actually 5'11", he's probably going to be down closer to 200 pounds looking at his frame.
Yeah,
but remember, he led college football in carries. So, he showed that he could tote the rock. His frame wasn't a concern, at least at school. And this is a guy, when he got behind the line of scrimmage with his speed, he showed he could do some at first I thought he was if you asked me a month ago, Chuba Hubbard, he's just very one-dimensional, getting the ball, getting north. But like I said, when I dove back in a little bit more, okay, here he is behind the line of scrimmage. His vision looks pretty good. He can create a little bit on his own here. He's obviously got the speed to get up north. He's got somebody who, you said, pass-fail on hands, right?
Yep.
He passes the hands.
Definitely.
Mostly screens, mostly in the flat. But when he got the ball in his hands, he moved.
And he moves pretty good laterally as well. He's not too stiff. Well, you know what I mean? He's not like one of these guys that has super loose hips, but I think he can at least be a one-cut runner.
he is more elusive than ETN, which isn't much. But
he's agile enough where he just got that nice little one-cut. He's a one-cut runner. Had a couple spin moves in there that I saw as well. So to me, Chuba Hubbard's stock for me is up. Definitely amongst a class of running backs that are average at best. This draft class for 2021 that we talk about, that's so great, that's so deep. It's a very, very top. It's very wide receiver deep with a couple very high-end prospects on the other positions. We got 3 solid running back prospects. But to be fair, out of all those prospects, if you throw them in a class of the last 3 years, where we know like they're not high up that, they're not excelling at a high level, but they're very good prospects.
Sure.
Kyle Pitts, the best tight end I've ever scouted. Trevor Lawrence, one of the best quarterbacks to come out in a while with a very good quarterback class. So it's a good class.
It's a deep class overall, but not
the running back's very shallow. So where Chuba Hubbard sits among that class, because listen, in Dynasty, in fantasy football, everybody needs running back. These guys are going to get drafted, and they're going to get drafted probably higher than some of them should. And who's going to offer the most upside? To me, Chuba falls in that category of like, okay, if I'm going to gamble on one of these rookie running backs, boils down to fantasy football production, right?
Yeah.
Who could be Chuba can offer you some of that Chris Johnson fantasy football upside where I'm okay with getting 8 to 10 carries a game because I can put my flex spot because at any game he's busting off an 80-yard run.
25 points, yep.
Yeah, he's getting you either – he's the kind of guy that probably average you about 8 to 12 points per game, which is pretty solid. Like if he finishes a year as a running back too, kind of like Kareem Hunt this year, even though Nick Chubb got hurt, was like, oh, he's running back number 7 overall. Even when Chubb was there, he's the kind of guy that is explosive enough where – and then the fantasy football year, like, oh, Chuba Hubbard, like he only got X amount of carries, but he was running back 26. Like,
well,
we're now you hear everybody on Dynasty Twitter, like, ooh, the sneaky bias, Chuba Hubbard. But meanwhile, that's just what he is.
Well, and the interesting thing is you talked about his stock being up, which is, I mean, I understand completely why you're saying that, but it's funny after like this down year, his stock plummeted from what it was last year. But I think that's why you guys and myself, I'm a little bit interested too, because before we were looking through it of the lens of he's probably going to be a second-round NFL draft pick or a third-round NFL draft pick, and you're going to have to take him at the middle of your first round or the end of the first round in drafts. Whereas now he's going late second, early third in our leagues, and then in NFL draft terms, he'd be lucky to get in the third round. I think he's more likely probably fourth round for NFL draft. For NFL draft. So I think the expectations of him have shifted and changed so much from what it was last year when, we were talking about him with Jonathan Taylor and Cam Akers, all those guys. I think that's what's really shifted here. And, for him, nerd score wise for me, he came in with a 68.5, which would put him roughly 7th in the class, 8th in the class at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
I can live with that.
9, 10. 10th in the class.
Oh, that's a little low for me.
Now it's too low.
Yeah, there's definitely not 10 on the running. There's not 9 other running backs I would take over Chuba Hubbard.
I have him slightly lower than that.
Do you have him slightly lower? See, I still like Kylan Hill and Jamar Jefferson. Yeah. I like them slightly more than I like
Elijah
Chuba.
Mitchell, who just had a nice pro day here.
He did have a nice pro day. I
like Herbert more than him as well. So I mean, all right, maybe I have to stack them up. But right now I'm not ranking. I'm going to analyze them.
But literally from a guy that we're going to talk about, Michael Carter, in a little bit, like through Elijah Mitchell, basically, like they're all very similar. It's going to be, you can flip them on their head, and it's all going to be about the same. So that's
a lot of these running backs, man. A lot of them have like one thing they could do well, but then that's it. So like, there's not a lot of fantasy football upside there because you can see him be one dimensional. Now, one of these guys is going to break the mold.
Sure.
Like, remember you were on your show talking about this guy. Okay, yeah, people get better. Nobody thought Justin Herbert was going to be the next coming of John Elway out there.
Although we did say to draft him as your third quarterback.
Damn right I did. But again, Chuba Hubbard, really good 2019. But like most of us, a big poo-poo sandwich in 2020.
Yep.
But we all ate that sandwich. So give him a little slack. So Chuba Hubbard, upside running back, right? Like worth drafting. I would take him in the third round. Where he lands could even get him as high as the back end of the second round, depending where he lands. Right? Like
I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah, if he lands in a really good spot, yeah, then you could probably take him in the middle of this. If he lands in Miami or somewhere like that,
what if he lands
got a nice little spot for a running back like that?
What if he lands in the third round to complement a guy like Mike Davis? Right? They want to use Mike Davis for his size and his pass catching ability, and they're like, all right, Chuba, we want you to be our home run threat kind of run. There's upside there. You know what I mean? So. We'll know more, I think, about Chuba, about ranking-wise. Again, we don't like to rank these rookies until they've been drafted because it's almost silly to rank them over. I mean, we rank them on DynastyNerds.com, but again, it's not silly. It just changes after NFL draft.
It's going to change because we have to factor that in. Even though it's not as big of a part of an equation as it is for a lot of other people, it has to be part of the equation.
It's not a part of the equation for the top-end guys, but everything other top-end guys, which is
it's about opportunity.
The back end of your second round, third and fourth round. So for a majority of your draft, it's about scheme fit, opportunity.
Especially at running back.